Now, this video is about why I recommend the EC 2206 certification above everything else. So, a lot of countries, a lot of governments around the world take it onto themselves to make sure that the helmets that are sold in their country is safe enough for motorcyclists to use. They have their own set of certifications like this. Now, there are individual organizations as well that do this. And then there's certain organizations that the United Nations recognizes, like these two. Now, what is FIM? FIM is a 120 odd year old organization that is in charge of races with regards to motorcycles like MotoGP, Moto 2, 3, Moto E, a lot of other off road races as well. Now, in 2019, FIM decided that all the helmets that are used in their races by riders has to be certified by them. So they started homologating certain models and started testing them and then giving them certifications. Now, for a helmet to be FIM certified, it has to have either of these three. One is the SNEL or the JIS, the Japanese standard, or the ECE. The Snell certification is they're a non-profit organization. They take helmet rating pretty seriously, but they've got one rating that adheres to the DOT norms of the US and another to adhere to ECE norms. So wouldn't recommend them that much. Of course, in India they're irrelevant. Then comes the Japanese norms. JIS, again, irrelevant in India. We've, in fact, not had the Japanese helmets present in our country for a while now. I hope they come soon. So the other certification left is ECE. Now, ECE that way takes a lot of things seriously. They don't just test the sport racing helmets like FIM does. Now, ECE 2205 was the pretty much the best standard available for us consumers from 2000. I think it's about 20 years old now, until 2022 when ECE 2206 was launched. Uh, ECE 2206 took a lot of inspiration from FIM. It's in fact the closest testing to FIM standards that exists right now. Now, ECE 2205 just had linear impact tests, so they uh, shove the helmet from a straight point onto a flat anvil to see what force it can take, and the helmet and the EPS can take. Now, ECE 2206 takes it a step ahead. Now, they test, firstly, they do test the linear impacts, but they test for oblique impacts as well. Basically, brain rotation. Like your brain inside the skull is not attached to the skull anyway, it's suspended. So, in angular impacts, it can essentially rotate. And that can cause pretty much serious brain damage, traumatic brain injury, in fact. When I fell, I was diagnosed with something called a diffuse axonal injury. I was wearing a 2205 helmet. It still saved my life, but it wasn't tested for the angular impact. Not sure it would have helped, but still. So, in the coming years, I think other ratings as well will take it. Like Snell, for example, I think in October they announced the 2025 testing scenarios for Snell, and they have oblique impact as well. So EC2205 had 5 points in the helmet that they would test. The manufacturer knew what points they were, they can reinforce them. In 2206, inspired by FIM, they've introduced 3 more points that can be random. The tester can select them, and from any of these points, that is, these are the options that they have. You can select any three from these. It's not possible for the manufacturer to reinforce all of them, in fact. Now, FIM tests the impacts, like I said, for the straight impacts and the angular impacts to test for rotation. They leave all the other stuff to ECE to test, like the comfort of the padding, the ventilation, the noise that comes into the helmet, the visor strength. They test all of these scenarios for visors to make sure they hold up. Even sun visors, if your helmet comes with it, they test that as well to make sure it doesn't interfere with the safety side of your helmet, essentially. They test the photochromatic ability as well, if photochromatic visor is a part of your accessory. They also test intercoms if they are part of the helmet when attached, like Shoei does this one. Of course, FIM requires the helmets to be double tiering, but ECE tests the other micrometric systems as well. When they test a micrometric system, they test it in the loosest position to make sure it's safe. So little things like these add up to a fantastic testing scenario that ECE has for helmets. Now, till 2022, FIM had the homologation 01 in place, and then the EC 2206, like I said, was taken from that. It's almost similar. Then in 2023, FIM stepped up their game. They got the 02 in place. The 02 makes it pretty hard for manufacturers to get the certification. Of course, not that these MotoGP helmets are not rated. Their in-house testing goes beyond all of these ratings anyway. But it's great to see that a certification goes this far. I think right now the only helmet, full face helmet that has the uh, 02 homologation is the RI RX7V. Uh, Specifically, the number two, they released a separate version that's rated the FIM certified one. And now FIM has taken it up on themselves to also rate off-road helmets. So from 2026, I think the 2025 races and for example Dakar and all, you wouldn't have to have FIM rated helmets. From 2026, it's mandatory for you to have FIM rated off-road helmets as well to take part in events that require them. So all in all, if you're looking for a sport helmet, if you ride a super sport bike and if you've got the budget for it, I'd say go for it. And if I am obligation 01 or a 02, doesn't matter. That's the best lid that you can fit your head into. Now, FIM helmets are, like I said, a little expensive. They don't come with things like internal sun visor and micrometric lock system, things that a touring motorcyclist would appreciate, find easy. So for all those, you will have to go to the EC 2206 rated helmets. Now, a lot of helmets are EC 2206 certified. Uh, Hope we have more brands and more head shapes coming in. But like I always say, prioritize the fit over all this, because just because a helmet is certified, it's not going to protect you. It has to fit the right way. Prioritize the shape and then go to the size that you're trying. Yeah, hope you find this helpful. Do share it with the riders in your community, your family, people who you think can benefit from this, and please do leave comments on what videos you'd like to see and any doubts that you have from this video. So just thank you. Ride safe.